What do stars do best? They shine.
I'm Steph.
And I'm Ange.
We're Nerdazons.
So, it's my choice again. Yes, I chose this because Stardust, when I saw it, I would just fell in love with it. I just fell in love with this movie, and I recently watched it and I was like, it still holds up. I was talking to one of my friends at work and I was going, I don't know what to choose, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, have you read Stardust? I'm like, no. She's like, it's a book. I'm like, what? And so I found it and I really wish that I read the book first. This isn't my first Neil Gaiman book. I love his writing.
Same. And I love Terry Pratchett.
The one thing that I'm going to say that the movie does get better over the book, the main thing.
I wonder if it's the same thing I'm thinking.
The book doesn't really have a climax, mainly focusing on Tristan. However, the movie, I loved the fact that, you learnt more about the witch. You learnt more about the brothers of Stormhold. You found out a bit more with Tristan. And the book, I will also say, is definitely an adult story, fairy tale. So I wasn't expecting that, which it was pretty graphic in some of the, the romance and the deaths. I loved his writing, but I also loved the fact that the movie wasn't as gory and wasn't as, it was a bit more wholesome. I'm so sorry, I don't mean to do the whole analysis already. So that's my just soapbox 2 minutes. So I just needed to get that out. So where would you like to start on this?
Well, let's start with the synopsis.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, I haven't even read this synopsis yet.
You've been dying to say this spiel for months. You have been talking about how many times you've read the book. You got me the book for my birthday. I needed to just let you talk and vent right then.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna read the Goodreads introduction. Life moves at a leisurely pace in the tiny town of Wall, named after its imposing stone barrier, which separates the town from a grassy meadow. Here, young Tristan Thorne lost his heart to a beautiful Victoria Foster, and for the coveted prize of her hand, Tristan vows to retrieve a fallen star, deliver it to his beloved. It is an oath that sends him over the ancient wall into the world that lets dangerous and strange beyond imagining. When I was watching this movie, I automatically had Princess Bride vibes without it being Princess Bride.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't want to say, that you have to choose one or the other. I just felt like it was really wholesome fun.
Yeah, just to sort of digress a bit, when I first saw this film, it was when it came out, and I loved it as well. I just never had it on DVD or anything, and then it kind of slipped my mind, and then when you mentioned it, I'm like, oh yeah, I did like that movie. I was keen to listen to the book. I know you got me the book for my birthday, but yes, spoiler, I listened to it on Audible, and it was freaking cool because it was read by Neil Gaiman. And yes, same as what you said, I love Neil Gaiman and I love Terry Pratchett. The worlds that those two can create are so imaginative. Who thinks of a ship catching lightning, fishing for lightning? It's just incredible.
I know.
No, I do have to disagree with one thing that you did say, though, is I actually like that I watched the movie first, because I feel like when you watch a movie and it's amazing, and then when you go and read the book and it's even better, I feel like you get to experience it first twice. Mm-hmm. Whereas when you read a book and then you watch a movie and it's really crap, you kind of get disheartened. It's the same with The Exorcist. The movie was incredible. And then when I finally listened to the book, it was just it's like watching it for the first time all over again. And you really appreciate it. And that's how I felt when I listened to the book.
it's interesting that, yeah, we both have different thoughts of our experiences with this, but wow, I loved both of them so much. So I'm
Agreed.
gonna start with maybe the storyline.
Yeah,
Oh,
agreed.
I
Okay.
haven't read the IMDb storyline. Also, I am all over the place this episode. Okay.
You just had so much you needed to say, you forgot of our usual routine.
I did, hey. Okay. In a countryside town bordering on a magical land, a young man makes a promise to his beloved that he will retrieve a fallen star by venturing into a magical realm. So, where would you like to start on this one?
All right, can I just say one thing
Mm-hmm.
that I actually think was better in the movie, but I just want to stipulate both the movie and the book were fantastic, and they were done for the right avenue they were released on. So a movie obviously had to do it in the right avenue for film,
Yeah,
and the book
yeah.
was done right for readers. But the one
Mm-hmm.
thing that I think was done incredibly well for the movie was by removing Tristan's family, his mum and his sister.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
really loved that his dad like waited, or just never found another love like his one night romance. And I
I
love
like that
that.
as well.
Yeah, I didn't realize he had a stepmom and sister until I started listening to the book, and I was like, whoa, I didn't know they existed.
No, and that's what kind of blew me away when I was reading it for the first time. I'm like, but he doesn't. He doesn't have a family.
Yeah. I think the way it ended in the book is right, because I mean, a one night stand, in another world compared to someone that you've lived with. I think how old was
Yeah.
Tristan when he went? 21 or
Mm-hmm.
18. But his
18.
daughter would have been around the same age. So, you built an entire world with this other family. And it worked fine for that.
But I loved the ending of the movie in the
Yeah,
fact that, yeah,
agreed.
like you said, that he did wait and that
And that they
they
were
were.
together
Oh,
at the end. I
yeah.
know, it was
I'm
so
not.
good.
I'm not a super romancy person
It's
at
the
all.
little things like
Like,
that I love.
that's why I loved this movie, and that's why I think it's got the Princess Bride feel to it, because it's not just a romance film. It's an action film. It's a comedy.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a little bit
magical.
scary. I just, it's got everything in this movie. We've talked about storyline, so how
There
about
was
this?
actually something else in the storyline they
The man
changed.
in the hat. I wish that he was in the book in the adventures.
The person guarding the wall.
No, the little his little
Oh
friend who
yes,
goes with him,
yes,
the
yeah.
man in the
I
hat. I
I
would I
agree. I
kind of
think
wish that he was in the book and the whole trees capturing them,
yeah.
and I wished that was in the book, in the movie.
Yes, he was a really good character, but again, I think it worked for the book setting because you had to really build that world. Whereas in the movie, you kind of had to visualize the world, like you needed to show it, but you also needed to progress the story on very
Mm.
quickly, because you had to just get to the other side of the world, the other side of the wall, and like hunting, and the main chunk of the story is he's got to save Evane. So I can see why he wasn't added, but he was such a great character in the book, and I really liked him. And it was really cool how connected he was to other things, like to like other people in the world as well.
Exactly. And what are your thoughts on the wall being open, every 9 years, or having it not open?
Oh, that's interesting. I think for the book, okay, I'm just gonna say the same thing. I think it worked for both. So in the film, it really built an atmosphere of like, oh, you don't
Yes.
cross it. And I think these are types of cues that you can't build in a book unless you're the one who visualizes it yourself, and unless it's written that way. But in a movie, it's those ominous types of shots that you can do, or bits of music that you can do that make it feel like, oh, do you want to cross the wall? What's behind there, sort of thing. Whereas in the book, it made sense that the carnival comes in and you go over there once a year, once every 9 years, and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. What did you think?
I I loved the fact. I'm going to agree with you there. But when he describes it in the books, it is just spectacular
Yeah.
in my mind. Whereas when he walks into the wall the first time and you see the little eyes in the jar, I
Yes.
was like, oh, that's so cool. But in the books, I imagined so much more and
Same,
just
same.
more less
It was like
humanoid.
right there next to the wall, whereas he had
Yeah.
to walk and get to it to see the wonder. Like there was nothing that enticed you to go across the wall because you
Yeah.
see it there every 9 years, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
And
it's so
yeah.
wondrous when he's there. All these
And
weird and kooky things.
I wish it was when they went through the town, it was a bit more like the book in the fact that there wasn't just so many humanoids. It was all like little critters and creatures. Oh, it was
Yes.
just
It was
so
like
beautiful.
full magic.
Yes. And okay, I'm gonna start with Tristan. I did not realize that it was Charlie Cox who does Daredevil. When I was watching it and he's got his short hair and you're just like, yeah, no, he's all right. But as soon as he got his long hair, whoa, like he was,
Uh,
I get him. And me and my friends still talk about, my friend was reading it, watching it for the first time, and we're like, what do you think of Christian? She's like, he's all right. And I'm like, no, wait. And then she's like, he gets hair? Oh, yeah.
yeah, I can see that. Like it's also the confidence in his face when he gets the
Absolutely.
hair.
Like, I think he did a really good job portraying it what in the books because he did come across as quite nervous and quite, when he gets a stick and he's like trying so hard to get
To be
Victoria's
Humphrey.
love,
Yeah.
Victoria's attention. And I think he does that so well. So I really liked chemistry between him and Victoria in the movie, especially the scene where she comes into his shop and she just walks in, and he's just following her. And when he has the champagne, and like, you could see that she didn't really like him, but they portrayed it so well.
Yeah. She definitely came across as that callous girl that was using him. But obviously there was a bit more depth between them in the book. You know, she did kiss him in the book already, whereas he was just like in her eyes just the shop boy who was infatuated with her. What did you think about the change of her suitor? So in the book, it was like the
Yeah,
old shopman that she got with.
Mr. Monday.
Yeah,
That was gross.
I know it was
I
gross.
didn't like that at all, but I mean, that's what would have happened in that
Yeah,
time.
correct.
And I don't know, but I loved the addition of Humphrey in the movie. Like, I liked that that they changed the character so she wasn't with Monday, she was
Yeah.
with Humphrey. I loved him, and it took me so long to realize that that was Henry
Do you
Cavill.
know, even when I Googled it and I'm like, I need to figure out who he is. And then I Googled it and saw a picture and I'm like, I still can't see it.
Hmm.
Like, it just doesn't look like him.
He's such an arrogant man, and he does that so well. And I could see why, the women of the town would have been like, ooh, 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 let's have his hand in marriage.
Yeah. And I
Um,
think, but I think they portrayed that having Humphrey in the movie was done better for the movie because he was everything that sort of Tristan wasn't. He was well dressed, he was well off, he didn't have to work, he looked good, he
mhm,
had all the attention of the ladies, and these are things that Tristan didn't have. So I think it was a real good show, like, of where Tristan was at the beginning of the film, and then when he comes back and returns, and just to show how the confidence and different clothes and how good he felt, like he disarmed Humphrey without Humphrey even attempting to like sword, like as soon as he pulled his sword out, he's like, oh, okay, I can see it. Like,
yeah.
and he just had to do that by showing how confident he was. And it puts Humphrey in Tristan's position at the very beginning of the film. They did it with having as little of the characters in it as possible because it's a film compared to the book where there was so much more depth in those characters.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I just think he was perfect because he came across as greasy and just, but I was still a little bit attracted to him and then going, who is he? And Henry Cavill. So I loved that Claire Danes was Yvain.
Yeah.
I think she is just so beautiful, and she's kind of like Pixie, like to me anyway. And I think she's how I imagined her in the book.
Yeah, I think so
Maybe,
too.
yeah.
I think it's probably because I did watch the film prior to reading it.
Exactly.
I had that visualization. But there was one thing, and it didn't bother me until towards the end, until she was on the boat in the movie, is that Claire Danes had like no eyebrows.
I know. I
And I'm
know.
like, I don't want to say it rude, but like she had non-existent eyebrows.
That's. I was gonna say that as well. Like she's. Where did they go?
I
But
know.
oh my god, I think she was so perfect for this movie,
I
and
agree.
I really like the fact that they made her glow when she
Yes.
was happy versus or just not eating. She didn't really look any different. Like she didn't look like a star and things like that.
I
Whereas
agree. But again,
I
that's
like
it's a
that.
visual thing that it's a
Exactly.
visual cue that only films really can make. And I think it was a really good addition into the film. Whereas in the
Yes.
book, it made sense as you were reading the book, you know.
Exactly. And can I just say, Ian McKellen narrating it was absolutely
So good.
perfect.
Yeah.
I love him as well. And he's just got such a beautiful voice.
Yes, he does. And it's iconic, the
Hmm.
voice. Back on the plot, and the ending, because a lot was different in the ending. What did you think of the ending with the main witch?
I like the movie ending.
Okay. I did like the movie ending, but there was something in the book that I really liked, and it really, I kept sort of rereading it in my head while I was watching, and I thought it was a really good touch to the end of
Mhm,
the book. And it's
mhm,
where, like, Yvain wasn't threatened at
mhm.
the end of the book, and she just, like, sat and chat with her, and she was like, you can't cut my heart out because my heart doesn't belong to me anymore. I don't have a
I,
heart. And I thought that that was really beautiful. Whereas that was sort of in the narration by Ian McKellen at the end, where he's like, she gave her heart completely to him. And I just thought, oh, I did kind of like that because it made sense like for the witch to stop attempting to kill her. Whereas in the movie, she just kept going until she died.
that was so beautiful.
In the
Oh,
book,
that was
yeah, I thought it was really
yeah.
good. I kind of liked it. I know it was anticlimactic compared to the movie, but I actually kind of really liked that touch in the book.
So I really like how they cast an older woman
Yes,
to play her rather than a young, beautiful actress in the fact that you could see that she was still old and she was no longer a young woman. And I loved how when she was young and beautiful, and when she'd use her powers, and like
she
she'd start
aged.
to old, she felt like she was getting old, and when she was actually old, she'd hunch her back, and it was just
She did it
she
well.
was the highlight, and she's so beautiful, and I love the part where she's young again for the first time and she's got gold in her hair.
Yeah. Yes, I always loved that in her hair. When I first saw it, I'm like, God, that looks so beautiful, her hair. Michelle Pfeiffer was gorgeous.
Yes.
And she still is gorgeous. And the makeup, like the
Mm-hmm.
scene where she pulled her hair out and like when she was
Mm-hmm.
playing with the makeup to, perk her chin up and her boobs like sag. And it's just the makeup was incredible on her. It was done, I was year 11. So,
Mm-hmm.
like 2007, it was done 18 years
Yeah.
ago,
18,
roughly.
19 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, so it actually, I think the makeup still holds. When there are
Yeah.
films that I think we've watched that are younger that didn't even age well.
Oh my gosh, this movie I've watched 1,000 times and I've just loved it. But I loved with Michelle Pfeiffer how charming she was. When she comes up to Ditchwater Cell and they're eating dinner and then she's like, "Oh, how dare you?" And when they show her like scary face, I was like, "Whoa,
Yeah, it
whoa."
looked really good. Ditchwater
She
Sound was so cool though.
When she was putting that curse, she was did such a great job of like being so scary and when she was the innkeeper, oh, that was hilarious when they made the inn and she was like, "Oh, darling, come on in." Like I loved that.
Yeah, that scene, actually, I want to speak about the book. That scene was so intense in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that one, I think the movie was incredible as well. The scene was just as equally as good, but I think that the book was much more intense because obviously there's much more time to build the scene around you in words compared to the visual cues and stuff. No, that scene was really, really good. I really love Arthur Weasley. I'm sorry, I don't know his name before anything else. He is the perfect person to play a human goat.
Yes, he was so good. And I thought that was so good when he came out and he was like trying to like walk humanly and walking on all fours at the bar, eating a
Yeah.
tea towel.
Even like that in the book when you read it, it's like the unicorn puts its head down and Billy the goat decides he's gonna ram it, and you can visualize it. You see both heads are down. It's like that
Yeah.
there is a horn, a spike that is gonna go right through your head, and it's just like, let's just say the goat didn't have as good a time or something, and I'm like, what a way
No,
to
have
end
a
it.
very good day.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, I liked that. And yeah, I liked little things like that in the book. It was so good. And
And
then who brought us
additionally,
out? I liked her as well.
yeah, they cast her perfectly. She seemed like the type of person that you couldn't trust just by the way she acted. It's like, I don't trust you at all, which made it perfect because she's, a traveler, really. But just back to the the hotel scene,
Hmm.
one thing that I really liked that they did to make it very kid friendly, so all ages can enjoy it, and it wasn't even a real obvious thing, but it was just enough to make it good, is that the blood was blue.
Yeah.
So when she slit his throat, it was blue, and then when you found him in the bathtub, it was just all blue all over him. And I'm like, it's a nice touch. It's very subtle. And
Yeah.
even though Septimus killed a lot of people, every time he went to stab them, like, it just showed like you'd see the arm action, but then you'd only see from like his shoulder
Yeah.
blades and his
It was
head. So
kind of Star Warsy in the fact that you
yeah,
never see blood or guts in Star Wars.
yeah, but you didn't even see the action of the stabbing for Septimus. You saw the throat get slit though.
Okay, since we're there, let's talk about the brothers.
Do you know,
Yep.
sorry, I'm going to cut you off here. You're
Ah,
about to go. With the brothers, I know that there were so many big names in it, but the makeup was done so incredible that I cannot, like, I know who they are, but it's really hard to see. Like,
mm-hmm.
David Walliams is in it, Rupert Everett is in it, and it's just like really hard to see because the makeup of how they all died,
I
like,
know.
hides their faces.
Mark Strong in this movie, he is exactly. If I read the book from the beginning, I would see Mark Strong as Septimus, and
Yeah.
he was such a great villain in the fact that you kind of felt sorry for him at some point, when he dies and then he's a ghost. He's like, oh, I'm no longer. He just did such a great job.
I
And
actually thought it was such a good comical relief in the book and film, both
yeah,
points to both of them, to have them as observers. Like, they're
yeah.
stuck there, they'll make all the jokes that they want because no one can see them. I think it's just really funny.
And one of them's got like a half severed head.
Yeah, and then like Rupert Everett's face is all flat because he got shoved out the window, which that didn't happen in the book. I was expecting, when I was listening to the book, I was expecting Septimus to push someone out, which he didn't do. I think in the book there were only three sons, there wasn't the fourth. But
Mhm.
I think in the movie you needed that to show that he was obviously the badder brother, and
Mhm.
his job is to kill them all, even though he is all in black. You just needed it to set the tone, I think.
I think all brothers were done fantastically, really
Perfect.
well.
The
And
casting was perfect.
also going back to the inn scene, I liked the fact that when she was having a hot bath, that the witch healed her leg
Yeah,
and she didn't have a limp. I liked that little touch.
yeah, yeah. But then the limp became like her, you know? It's always a memory of how she got there. And it'll
Yeah,
always be that memory for her life, that she'll always have that limp. And the reason she has that limp is because she fell down to earth and met the love of her life, you know? Whereas, yeah, it worked for the movie to get rid of it. You can't have her limping around in the whole movie, I guess.
again, I think that was good for the movie, but I like that she had Olympians for the
In the
book.
book, yeah, see? And, like, it's so
Yeah,
hard to rate this one because everything that was different in the movie worked for the movie, and everything that was different in the book worked for the book. Like, it's the same story, but different, you know? It's hard to explain.
absolutely. But okay, I want to go to the when they go up into the
With Robert De
sky
Niro?
with Robert De Niro. Okay,
Yep.
I didn't like that they were just there for a few weeks and that Captain Shakespeare didn't like have such a big I didn't think he even existed in the books. It was just they just landed, and that it was kind of anticlimactic there because I was expecting to have like that comic relief, that funniness, and when you got there, I was that was one of my favorite parts where they're like, hey, hey, and
Yeah.
you know, and my heart was pounding so much when I thought he was going to get caught in the dress, and I just, I thought that was just, mwah, like it was perfect.
I think he did that perfectly. You know, he
Yeah,
wasn't super over the top, but he played that position really well, and it was nice. You know, the reason he connected with Tristan and Evane is because he could be himself, and it was like, again, it was another cue for Tristan to evolve into the person he became, is he had to learn to be himself.
mm-hmm.
Which Evane made a comment when they were there, and he started thinking about it. I think that was a really good scene completely. Like, they both learnt a lot. They both grew. Like, she learned how to dance. She learned how to really enjoy the things of human life. And I agree. I really like that scene. It doesn't seem as memorable to me in the book, though.
They honestly, they were up there, and that there was no Captain Shakespeare.
Right.
And yeah, I like when he's pretending to be tough, and they throw Tristan overboard, but it's not really him, and
It's a mannequin.
I'm just gonna give you a haircut.
And then the hair grows, and I'm like, what?
I loved it. And when the witch is going back to the shops, and she turns the guy,
Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais, into a parrot.
And he's like, are
And
you
then,
mocking me? No. Like, you can see
and
he's
then,
shaking his head.
and then Septimus kills him.
I know, it's so
Uh,
funny.
the ending, I'm gonna say that I liked the ending of the book a million times better.
Okay. I don't know. Sway me. I'm on the fence with both.
Because I don't know, it was just too much of a fairy tale, and then they lived happily ever after. Whereas, I like the fact that they grew old and then they started their new tradition of who's gonna take the throne. They throw the stone a little bit. They don't throw it out the window. They're not expected to kill each other. And when his time's up, he's like, no, I'm ready to go. And I like that they actually talked about it rather than I wish that they kind of did that and showed that they had children. There
See,
is on YouTube, there's actually deleted scene which is them getting older and the parent and the kids saying goodbye, and they actually have kids saying goodbye. And then they light the candle and then they go up and they become beautiful stars. And I wish that they added that.
yeah, I don't know. I think the commentary was all that you needed. Like Ian McKellen said, you know, they had children, their children had children. You know, it became like a thriving city. And when they got to the age that, you know, that their children can take over or their grandkids can take over, they lit the candle and, you know, went back up into the stars, and it showed you the two beautiful stars at the end. I thought that was really, really good. The book.
I like,
This is where
yeah,
I'm on the fence with the book, is because you just had like this battle. The
mm-hmm.
dramas, like, it kind of wound down really a lot. And then the mum came on really strong. Like, she didn't have, she's like, I'm your mother, and is this really what you want to do? And then so she went to become regency for X amount of years while they traveled and were in
I
love
like
together.
that they got to do that.
I like that they got to do that too, but I just feel unless they were going to expand in it, it didn't really bring value to me. Because then they went there and then they became king and queen, and then you heard that they had kids and grandkids and great grandkids, and then Yvain, he died in the book. He died. They
I
didn't
know.
like the so
Oh,
like
that's right. Sorry. Yes, I'm getting got
yeah, because I
confused.
was
Yeah.
like I don't remember that, and then he dies, and then she rules for like they don't really tell you how long, but she just continues ruling, and she lives at the top of the tower with the broken roof. So like it doesn't even the tradition doesn't continue. They don't even talk about the tradition at the end. It's just that, they just say that Tristan was a great ruler. He served him in battle. Then he died happily after, the kingdom's well thriving and Yvain took over. So I like the idea that in the movie better because they go and live happily, like they live together on Earth for a life, and then they get to go and live in the stars together for a life, and I like that idea better.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I like the ending of the book. I don't know. It just ends it. Okay, it's over. Whereas the movie, it's predictable.
Yeah, but I mean, the whole movie's predictable.
I know. I guess. Yeah.
And I
But
think
yeah,
the way it ends in the movie wraps up a really beautiful fairy tale, which essentially it
I
is.
guess
It's a
50-50.
yeah, no, it's fair. Okay, I'm just gonna stick with the movie then, because I don't know. I don't like the idea that she lives on her own. For it could be thousands of years before she ends up dying. They don't really say. She lives forever, so she's stuck there on her own while he's dead. She'll have to watch her kids die. She has to watch her grandkids die. Continue
Okay, stop being
ruling.
so depressing.
Well, that's just my opinion of it. You
I
like the
know.
ending, and they only had 4 years of traveling together, so 4 years compared to a beautiful lifetime in the movie. That's the one part that you like
Swayed
about it.
me. I think you've swayed me.
Yes.
The dad was incredible as well.
Oh gosh, I love him. Do you know, I'm gonna say it, Silver Fox. And I'm pretty sure he's Inspector Morse. No, not Morse, sorry, Inspector Lindley. If you love UK crime shows, which you don't seem to, you're not reacting, because I'm a loser that watches them. And I also love him. I actually
Yeah.
think young Dustin was so much better than Tristan. Like, good looking.
Is there anything else that you want to add before we rate the movie?
I just have one last comment, and it's more not even like a discussion. It's just I want to say that I really liked this because I thought it was really funny. By making the one soldier at the wall the old man, and then when Tristan tried to do the exact same thing his dad did, he learned how to like beat him with a stick. and he's like, he's
Yeah, I love that
87
as
years
well.
old. And then he's like, I'm leaving. I shouldn't have been like protecting you. I should be like stopping them. And he was a funny addition. I'm pretty sure he
I
played
love.
Grandpa Joe in the remake of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I also liked that it was an old man versus everybody taking turns.
Yeah, because then you really got to know that character as opposed to the like 5 different characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many book pages do you give this?
I'm going to give this one a 4.75. I really liked it. I listened to this in a full day. It's only a 6-hour thing.
Wow.
I listened to it straight. It was so good. No one was in the office that day, so I could just let it play and do my work. And I never usually listen to books while I work because I need to just get my work done. But it was so good. I love, Neil Gaiman. I love Terry Pratchett. Their stories have always been a number one on my list. And like, because some of my favorite authors, so loved it. I'd listen to it again. The story's great.
And what about how many movie reels?
I'd go the same, 4.75. I liked them both equally.
I'm going 4.5 for the book
Okay.
because it was a little bit more graphic than what I was expecting.
I liked that.
And I liked that a lot. And I did love, like, I read this so many times and I was like, I'm going to listen to it and see what because they're just saying it's so good. So I found it and I re-signed up for Audible and got it again. Hashtag sponsor us, please, Audible. And I was like, wow, he does such a good job of reading it.
Right?
And yeah, no, it's not a perfect book. So I'm going to go 4.5. Sorry, no, I'm going to change it 4.5. Yeah, no, I loved it. I've read it like 3 times since I got it like a few months ago, but I think I need a break now from reading it, and I'm gonna give the movie 4.75
Okay.
because I love the addition of Captain Shakespeare. I
Yeah.
love Michelle Pfeiffer. Mark Strong was incredible. I just feel like the cast was top notch.
Yeah,
Like
it was. It was good.
incredible,
It was a
incredible.
good film.
I can watch this movie so many times and just be so happy when I watch it. Yeah, to me, it's just such a great movie. It's got everything. Like I said, it's got action, comedy, romance, drama. It's
Yeah,
just,
I
yeah,
agree.
so good. Okay, so what do you think this got on Goodreads?
Is it out of 100?
5.
Oh, out of 5. I'm gonna guess a 4.
Higher.
4.5.
Close. It got 4.8.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
incredible. See, I knew I ranked at a 4.7, so I was pretty close.
Absolutely. Okay, so what do you think this got on Rotten Tomatoes?
All right, I don't have my faith in Rotten Tomatoes for
I
ranking.
was a little bit disappointed.
All right, I'm gonna guess 63.
Higher.
74.
So close, 76%.
Oh, that's not bad, but yeah, I do know that Rotten Tomatoes for some reason it's always ranked under what it should be.
The
What's
audience
the audience score?
the audience score is 86%.
Yeah, the audience score's always higher. It's like whoever's marking it is obviously not listening to the people.
Yes. So if you haven't, please read the book. I'm recommending
Yes,
everybody. And
I'm glad I read
there's
it.
so many people that I know that have never heard of this movie.
Really?
It's such an underrated movie.
That's
So
insane. I
underrated.
remember when it came out.
Nah, I don't know. I don't know, but I just loved it. Okay, so let's move on to
Nerdison's Nerdy Notables!
because of lockdown, I was scrolling through Disney and I said to my niece, what should I watch? Should I watch Soul or should I watch Luca? And she just goes, Luca. And I go, oh, okay. She goes, it's so much better than Soul. I was like, all right, calm down. So I watched Luca. That is one of the most beautiful movies.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
on my
God,
to watch list.
gorgeous.
And Soul, I haven't watched that yet either. I'm a bit behind on my Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks. I'm behind on all my cartoons, to be honest.
It's just, oh my gosh, I love it so much.
It
And
looks beautiful. The
Silencio,
animation
oh
looks,
no.
yeah, it looks so great.
Yeah,
Honestly, it does look really, really good, and it is something that I am keen to watch.
it's
Don't know when.
very fun. And also, I'm so happy that new Rick and Morty's out.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
I've been watching it every week when the episodes come out. So good.
I've only watched one episode of Loki.
I'm waiting for it to fully come out, so I
Mhm.
can binge it. Yeah, so when that comes out, I'll binge it. I've kind of seen a few spoilers, but I don't think it will ruin the show for me though, so I'm still keen to watch it.
And my mother is teaching me how to knit.
Nice. I fail at knitting. I'm good at crocheting though.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know, I'm sick of watching. I think I've literally watched everything on Netflix and YouTube.
You watch
So,
so much more than me.
well, I'm not studying.
Yeah.
And also
Yeah.
at the moment, we can't leave our houses.
Yeah. And I'm working at
So,
home, so.
Yeah, oh my goodness. So we finished Sisters. Totally, you should watch it.
Yep, I will.
Yes. Oh my
I will
God.
add that to the list.
I
It's a
know. It's a
very,
list of
very
many,
long
many,
list.
many things.
Like
Um,
my blanket I started last year in lockdown. It's a Star Trek blanket to crochet, and that is still sitting here. Like I haven't touched it for months, and I'm like, oh, I understand how blankets take ladies like years to finish because you just
yep.
don't go back to it. I think I'll go back to it in my holiday. Like,
Don't judge me, but I'm actually starting the True Blood books again.
you're
Um,
the second person actually. My colleague has just started watching the series, and I'm like, yeah, I used to be really into that, and then I read the books, and I stopped. Like, I think I got like a good 9 books into the series, and then I stopped.
oh,
And then I
they're
never finished
so
the actual
good.
like TV show either.
No, I went back and I'm like, I'm gonna watch True Blood again. And I didn't realize it's pretty much softcore porn.
It is.
And I don't understand why everybody was so obsessed, including me. Like, I don't know
I
why.
don't see it either.
It was terrible acting. Eric's not even like that hot when
No.
everyone's like, Eric, Eric, Eric. And then when it got to like season 5 and Bill turned into Billis, that I was just like, nah, this is beyond trash. I'm stopping it now.
Yeah, I don't see how it got that good either, but it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's exactly what you said. It's the same with Game of Thrones, how it took off so quickly, because it's
I know.
just watching almost, like you said, softcore porn on TV.
Well, it's really funny because my sister was a few episodes behind on True Blood when we were watching it when it came out on TV week by week. And then I was talking to my sister and she on the phone and she was just like kept going and going at something and I just went, Tara dies and hung up on her. And then she's like, what? And then she called me back. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe that you did that. Blah, blah, blah. So now whenever I babble on and I'm on the phone, she'll just go, Tara dies and hangs up on me.
Wow. You know what? I actually don't think I ever got to that far.
Oh,
I don't
Tara
know. No, but
dies.
doesn't she come back?
She turned into a vampire, but then she dies.
I never got to the vampire
No.
part.
Sorry, spoiler. Tara dies.
I was never gonna watch it, so it's all good.
Yeah, so
I think with the series I actually stopped. I reckon it would have been the very start of season 3. Because the second season is the crazy church, right?
yeah, no, the lady that's like makes everyone have orgies and stuff.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
towards the end of the second season. You're introduced to the church at the start of it, aren't you? And then like she cheats on her husband,
Mm-hmm.
and it has Vinnie
Yeah.
Jones in it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Vinnie
Another
Jones,
actor
I
who
say
started
from Home
out
and Away.
in away.
He was my favorite character years and years and years ago. But anyway, yeah, that's as far as I got in True Blood.
That she's still in it. His wife, Linda Lara.
The blonde girl,
No, the one that married Vinny.
like in real life.
No, in the show, in Home and
Oh, I
Away.
didn't even see that. Like,
Oh, yeah, she's still in it. And so
see,
is
I didn't even get to that part. So, well, you filled me in on the whole story, so it's all good now.
I'm so sorry to spoil Home and Away for you.
It's all good. You didn't ruin it for me.
Good.
So,
And I see Candyman's got a release date.
yes, that is one of my choices this year, and I'm dying for it. It was I'm pretty sure it was my Halloween choice.
Yes, I have. I think this is one of the scary movies that I did watch over again.
I think though that the storyline has changed, judging from what I could see on the most recent trailer that was released. So I'm a bit interested to see how the new story will go.
Interesting.
So next fortnight is RoboCop. It's my choice. So RoboCop the original versus the remake. Also, don't forget we do have merch. The amazing Craftcaster has uploaded their designs onto the Teespring. So TEE Spring. Make sure you check them out. It's some pretty funny designs.
So if you like us, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. You can listen to us on Spotify and anywhere that you listen to your good podcasts. We are on Facebook and Instagram, and we'd love to hear from you at nerdazons@outlook.com. Until then, Stay nerdy.